Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement 2. It's a super mini mail call, as you can tell by the title of this video, and we're going to jump right into it. See all these packages stacked up here? These ones back there? Those are all mail call items. There's a bunch, and I need to kind of start with the big boxes because I need to try to reduce that pile a little bit. There's a whole bunch of small stuff on the top, but yeah, big boxes come first. So I got one right here on my lap, and this one comes from Avery in Pennsylvania. Hi to all my Pennsylvania viewers. Let's dig in and see what's in the box. I have it down on the floor here. There are packing peanuts inside, so I need to be careful about that. But we got a note. Let's take a look at the note. Yo, Adrian, thank you so much for your review and modification videos of the Panasonic portable TV. I'm glad you found a use for it. Hope it serves you well. And of course, I've learned a lot from your videos and the modification. I've been working on my own restoration of vintage audio things, and your explanations of electronics have helped me out a lot. I've even used an oscilloscope to troubleshoot a bad key input on a Sony amplifier and is now doing service as my living room hi-fi. Needless to say, I'm very pleased with myself. While I still must pass on CRTs, I did come across something recently that was too interesting to not pick up. I have power tested the television component only, also a couple other odds and ends. As always, thanks very much for your amazing content. Avery from Philly. Well, from the note, it sounds like we might have a little combo television stereo thing. That's my guess. Let's see here. Aha! It looks like, whoa, peanuts alert. Looks like we have a boombox or something, and I'm wondering if it's one of those combo television boombox things. We also have, a couple little mini TVs, it looks like. Let me just dig through the packing peanuts here just to make sure there's nothing else in there. All right, nothing else in the box. And I'm noticing that the postage on this was exorbitant. USPS, the United States Postal Service, charged Avery a literal arm and a leg to ship this box. I have some friends who do shipping stuff. They sell stuff like for a living. And they tell me that actually the PayPal postage thing, if you can go into PayPal and buy postage, it's a lot cheaper. But then another friend of mine told me about a place called Pirate Ship, as in like, arg, a pirate ship. I've never used it myself, not a sponsor, none of those things. But I think they were telling me that it's like half off. So if you're trying to ship something, I'd probably try to look at some of the alternatives first, because that price on here is absolute highway robbery. Absolutely. And came from Pennsylvania, so, you know, kind of the other side of the country, but still, wow, that's wild. All right, so here it is. Take a look at this. It is a little boom, a little kickstand on the bottom, a little boombox television set. Freaking cool. So we got a little television set. We have a little cassette player. We have the built-in speakers that are not detachable. It's in pretty good shape. It just needs a really good clean. Oh, there are some loose parts inside though. Okay, here it is. So there's the top. Let's look closer. So power on and off, radio, tape, and TV. Aux or AM, AM or FM. We have mono, wide, or stereo. Ooh, fancy. A couple sliders here for volume and tone balance. We have TV tuning and radio tuning, two separate controls here. If we flip this down on its back here, so it looks like there's the FM AM tuning. And there is the TV, analog TV tuning, of course. And yet, this is the way the bands are split up. 2 through 6, 7 through 13, and then 14 to 83. And that was later reduced in the US to 69. I think they took some of these frequencies to the top here. 800 megahertz band, gave it to businesses and maybe cell phones or something like that. And of course, now I think it's supposed to shrink even more so they could take more of the UHF band for other things. Band select on the TV, there it is. Cool, that works. There's that speaker. It's a little brown, but kind of cool. And an Emerson 450, XLC 450, television, AM, FM stereo, multiplex receiver, stop eject. All the controls are there. It just needs some plastic polish and a good wash. We even have a tape counter there. And on the back, we have a battery compartment here. I'll just carefully remove this. Let's see what it looks like in there. Oh, you know, a little bit of corrosion there, but could be a lot worse. And obviously it supported a rechargeable battery pack of some kind so that you weren't just stuck constantly inserting and removing, looks like D-cell batteries. Moving over here, why don't we turn this around so the electrons don't fall out. There we go. Model number XLC450, as we already know, runs on DC 12 volts or AC 120 volts, 24 watts. 2 inputs there. We have some controls for the TV here. Contrast, but the brightness and the vertical hold are inside. It looks like they are bent up. They should have protruded through the case. Someone has obviously been inside of this, and when they put it back together, they didn't put it back together quite correctly. Manufactured in June 1983. A little bit of rust on the antenna screw right there. But otherwise, yeah, this thing's it's pretty sweet. I kind of love it, actually. It's nice that it's fully intact. And the reason why I say that is because I actually have another similar set to this, but not the same brand. Let me grab it because the one I have is in worse condition than this one. All right, here is the one someone else locally gave me. And this one is made by, well, I think it was JCPenney. But for whatever reason, the person who had it didn't like that, and they put some paint over there. But as you can see, TV, AM, FM stereo cassette recorder, and FGTV1. Oh, Montgomery Ward's. I think that's the brand that this was sold under, which was just an OEM for someone else. It does have separate tuning knobs for, well, that's the radio tuner, and it seems to be frozen. Oh, there we go, it's moving. I haven't really done anything with this other than, I think I tested the TV and it does work. There's the TV tuning. We have selectors for the 3 bands on the television. The cassette player does work, although it's got issues. There's something wrong with one of the channels, and I don't know if it's in the cassette circuit or in the amplification, because I have only very basically done some testing on this. Fake tweeter, I am sure. And on the top of the set, band selector, we have the functions there. We have FM mode stereo mono. There's no wide on this one. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Power switch, balance, tone, volume. Very similar controls, actually. And let's look at the back. Okay, I have some notes here. Broken tape door, bad belts, tape volume issues, dirty. I don't know, no AC. What do I mean by no AC? I think the AC input's not working, but the DC does. We have external inputs here, TV controls, and there it is. There is the badge on this thing. Montgomery Ward. This was definitely OEM by someone else. Look at the year, 1985, November 1985. Model number JSA 39985, whatever that is. Battery only. I think when I tested it, I actually just clipped onto here. Look how it has a connector there also for the external battery. I wonder if these things are made by the same company. I mean, this one seems substantially different than the other one, but it kind of has me wondering, maybe it is the same. So this one, I do have some extra parts for it. So it looked like it was missing the knob and whatnot, but I do have that one knob that was on the top. It's not broken or anything. It's just I took it off because I knew that taking this thing apart, I'd have to remove those. I also do have the tape door, but unfortunately, here it is. It's in decent shape, like it's not too scratched up. The problem is it has little like clip things here that are broken. So right here, there was like a part that came down and it has like a little peg, and that actually was the pivot point. And this one is also similarly broken. So while the door can go on the front of the unit, there's nothing to hold it on. It just like falls right off. And I'm no good at repairing things. And I have no idea how to make this thing good again. So if you have any ideas, let me know. I think this thing is fixable. A little bit of adhesive glue there. It's fixable. It's just, I don't know really how. This is a bad design that this broke off so easily. And that's really the Achilles heel of this thing. I also have the battery door for the bottom. So it's complete other than the fact that that's busted. So I just keep these off the unit because eventually I'll try to do a repair on this thing, I guess. And I don't know, I don't want to stress those parts out. But at the same time, I'd like the cassette player to work, but without the door being there, well, it's really not super great. When I was doing my testing, I had to put the tape in there and just hold it in place because the door is actually what keeps the tape from just falling out. Now, one thing about these types of units that I'm aware of is typically there's like a mechanical slider on the PCB for like play and record and stuff like that. And that is what changes the mode of the cassette player. And I have a feeling that's probably the problem. You know, I need to get some Deoxit in there. I haven't even taken this thing apart, but with enough cleaning in there and Deoxit, then maybe the sound issues will kind of go away. It has like a weird noise and bad sound on one of the channels, something like that. But as the note said, one of the other issues is the belts are bad on this unit at least, probably on the other one as well. And with bad belts, if you don't buy good quality ones, you're gonna get like warbling and wow and flutter and whatnot. And I guess I kind of need to decide if I can make this thing work properly first before I even invest in belts. And the fact that the door is completely broken on this, I'm not sure it's even worth, trying to fix this thing. Anyways, if you have any tips and pointers for trying to fix the broken door on this Montgomery Ward one, let me know. As far as this other one, I guess let's give it a quick test and let's see how it works. Now, it's funny because I had been meaning to, oh, you know what? I have a tape here that should be able to be played that is not copyrighted content. It's David Murray's Petsky Robots tape that he gave me at one of the VCFs. So we can definitely try that out. I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna power this thing off of DC. That way I can current limit it if something goes terribly wrong. Okay, it's hooked up to the bench supply. I have 12 volts going in. Let's see, there's no current draw at the moment. I have 1 amp current limit. Alrighty, so we have some sound. I'm assuming this is FM mode. Let's see, I'm in tape mode. Wow, it's really, really noisy. There's a lot of hiss on, I think both channels, to be honest. Okay, with the balance control, all the hiss is out of one channel, so it's sort of similar. Let me move the camera here so you can see it a little bit better. Not set up for this kind of thing on this type of mail call episode. All right, there we go. Whoa, all right. That was bumping it, made that noise. We're on tape. Let's switch to radio, turn the volume down. Okay, we're on AM, obviously. FM, here we go.
One thing, you've seen them destroyed.
Okay, so the balance on the left or right speaker doesn't work at all. There's no sound here. But
exotic dancers.
There's sound on the on this speaker. Let's see. I don't know what this content is, so we're not gonna keep it. Wow, the radio seems to work, but we still have the problem with the sound. And I'm just noticing here, if we tilt this over, this bezel here appears to be coming out a little bit. So yeah, it's coming apart. Okay, so all right, FM's working. AM probably works, but down in the basement here, you really don't get anything. Let's see about tape again. Oh, you know what? A lot of that hiss went away. Interesting. All right, so with the tape, see if anything is even turning. Nope. Nothing. It's dead. I mean, whether the motors are turning inside, I don't know, but the capstan's not turning, the take-up reel's not turning, nothing's turning. So that tape won't work until some more service happens to it. And the last mode is the TV. So that's audio, I think, from the TV, and we are drawing 700 milliamps right now. Let's see if we get a picture of any kind. There we go. Look at that. Even though there's black bars there, it's actually completely fine on the image there. So we have good deflection, TV tuning. Obviously, we're not going to get anything. I don't have my UHF tuner engaged here in the house. There we go. We can switch bands. Yeah, I don't know why this camera... Oh, it's at 1/125th of a second shutter speed. Yeah, you know what? I don't have this camera set up anymore for shooting CRTs because I only ever shoot my face with it here on the bench. It never changes, it never moves. It's my older Sony camera. But anyways, yeah, deflection looks good. 700 milliamps looks good. I'd say that the image is bright enough and everything. So yeah, this thing is looks pretty good. Let's turn it off. Boo, there it goes. So I just wrote up this note for this Emerson unit, no tape transport, no right channel. TV seems okay. So I'm just gonna keep this stuck on here and the repair will be for a future time. If anyone has any tips on how I can repair this thing, oh, I should probably stick this. Oh, the whole case is kind of coming apart, like right here. It's not attached anymore. If anyone has any tips on this, maybe service manual, stuff like that, I would definitely be appreciative. I've never really worked on things like this before, so I don't really know what I'm doing. I mean, it's not a digital computer, it's an analog thing, and that's where, you know, I always get stuck. All right, also we have a little Sony Watchman. This is very similar to the one I've had on the channel before. So that's kind of cool. Whoops, there we go. No battery leakage, which looks nice. Okay, I'm trying to hook this up via clip leads. Let's see if I can get this thing to power on. Nope. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, come on, stay on there. Yeah. Deflection seems to have a similar problem to the other one I had with a little fold over, but I think I fixed it with a new cap. I think this is working. There's audio. It's really hard to make a good connection on the battery compartment. It's not designed for clip leads. Actually, I don't know. There doesn't appear to be any kind of image at all. It just seems to be, well, it's hard to know what this thing does when it just gets static. What do we have here? Oh, this has video, oh, sound, okay. Has sound input. And so which means you could like listen to your TV audio versus looking at the video. That would save battery. This thing uses up quite a bit of battery because, as you know, if you watch my channel, this thing's got a little CRT in there. That is a little CRT. That's the phosphor coating, and the electrons shoot up from the bottom here, hit the phosphor there, and it lights up, and you're actually looking through the electrons. The electrons are scanning between your eyes and that phosphor, so that's kind of cool. They sort of turned the CRT idea inside out. I don't know if Sony invented this style of little glass picture tube or what. In the end, lots of companies ended up making stuff like this. Well, not lots, but there were like door phones and things like that. I've had some videos on the channel before about it, but it is pretty neat how the electrons come up and you look right through them. Of course, electrons don't look like anything to our eyes. We don't see them. So all it does is light up the phosphor. There's the tuning control, power, sound, TV, volume control. And if I recall, this does have a DC input. Nope, that's external antenna. Yeah, I don't think this particular model has a DC input, hence the reason why I was trying to clip on. Let's look here. Yeah, manufactured November 1987, and the model number is FD10A. Definitely had one of these on the channel before. I thought I had one up here, but they're all upstairs in my office. I have a little display with these types of small TVs and stuff. They're just so cool. And this has got to be a Casio TV, I think it's a TV10. Let's see, TV400, yeah. I owned this exact set back in the day. I always wanted one of these Sony Watchmans, and they were pretty expensive. And I ended up buying one of these, and this is a color set that uses an LCD panel, but it is terrible quality. Absolutely horrible. Okay, I think I have the clip leads connected to this. Yeah. You can see the little tuning indicator there moving. That's as good as it gets. I mean, this one may not be working properly, but like there's the contrast control. It is so dim. I was so disappointed when I got one of these things back in the day. LCD technology back in whenever this thing was made was just not good. Not good at all. It ate batteries so quickly because of the backlight, which I think is what do you call it? It's electroluminescent backlight. And looking at the power supply, we're at 6.2 volts going into the batteries. 345 milliamps. That is a lot of current draw. So yeah, you had to use rechargeable batteries, and then of course those had even lower voltage, and I don't know, you couldn't see anything at all. Like, you know, there it is, it's lit up, but I have the contrast control set inappropriately. Let's see if I can get this, which one is volume, one is contrast. Yeah, to get any kind of contrast like that, you see that little indicator there moving? It's so dim, so dim. So needless to say, when I got my TV400, I was so disappointed that the performance of this thing just was pretty terrible. And I think generally the Sony Watchmans, which were being sold concurrently while black and white, at least had a watchable image. Not in sunlight, because like notice how light the phosphor is. I mean, it's barely visible, but in a dark room or indoors, it was fine. I mean, for watching I guess a sports game or something. I mean, to be honest, these were just novelty items. There was no real purpose to these things. At least that little boombox has a real CRT on it, and if it was set up next to your bed, you know, you could put the news on and, you know, watch that. I mean, it wasn't unwatchable, but yeah. This thing, on the other hand, what a not great thing. I don't know if TV 400 was the first model or something. I'm not sure if this was the exact one I had. It certainly looked exactly the same, had the same clip-in kickstand here. Is there a date? Is there a date on here? No, I don't see it. But yeah, looking at the back here, this is exactly the same one I had for sure back in the day. I bought it brand new, paid way too much for it. TV 400 there, 3.2 watts. What does this say? Does it say anything about the power consumption on this one? No, it does not. We have a band selector there. Oh wait, maybe here. There it is. 1.5 watts, I think, if I'm reading that correctly. So way less power to run a high voltage CRT than a color LCD set. Pretty hilarious. And yeah, it came with this little cheap case here, which is just vinyl. I mean, obviously it's held up over the years, so I guess that's something. But yeah, it has a little Casio branding in the plastic there. It's a little soft touch, and to be honest, it's held up all right over the years. But this always used to happen here. It has these little feet on the back of the TV, so if you lay it on the table, it sort of kicks it up a little bit, and the stand, I mean, the bag always used to get stuck on those, just like that. There's one on each side there, see? Oh, memories, and I don't have nostalgic memories, not for this Casio. Anyhow, thanks very much, Avery, for sending in these two little televisions here, along with the TV stereo cassette boombox. Definitely looking for tips on, you know, trying to get this thing working. If anyone has anything, I have no idea if service manuals exist for stuff like that, Emerson and whatnot. But if it does, that would be awesome. That would really help out, actually. But anyways, I figure I can at least do some basic cleaning on that thing and, I don't know, try to get things working. But the fact that the cassette player is not even moving anymore, again, I guess that could be that mode switch thing that I was talking about on the other one that is probably gummed up. And cleaning and Deoxit might fix that. So anyhow, okay, let's move on to the next thing. I think maybe we'll do one more for this video, and then it's going to be like a 2-hour video. All right. All right, actually, I grabbed a smaller one off the pile. This one is an Amazon package. It was drop shipped right from Amazon, so I won't know who it's from until we open it up. All right, well, inside there is no note, and we have what looks like a book. Terrible Old Games You've Probably Never Heard Of by Stuart Ashens. I watched Stuart's channel so much back in the day with his brown couch and everything like that. Loved it. Let's see things that I may not know about. He thinks not, at least. Hello, as Stuart always says. Let's just breeze through this. Now, if these games are all things that were on like the ZX Spectrum, yeah, obviously I'm not going to know it. All right, here we go. VIC-20. Alien Raiders. Looked like a... Okay, I'm trying to get the glare to not be terrible here. Alien Raiders. What is this, like a clone of what? I guess Space Invaders, but instead of rows, it has just the odd thing? I have no idea if I've ever played that game. There seems to be a bunch of copy on that. That's kind of cool. And then we have Alien Sidestep for the 64 and also a VIC-20 version. And yeah, never heard of that either. Let's just flip over to a random page. Bionic Granny for the 64. Never heard of that. All right, this is cool. We have Duckula for the CPC. Well, I've never played it with the CPC, so no wonder why I don't know that game. Wow, this is pretty fun, I gotta say. All right, this will be a cool Crazy Kong for the VIC-20. Developer unknown. Look at this. Oh dear. Oh, is that the art? Oh, there's a note. Okay, cool. Enjoy your gift. I thought you might like this book. A loyal fan, Sean. Thank you, Sean. All right, well, anyways, I'm not going to spoil the whole book, but thanks, Sean, for this. And yeah, I'm going to put this upstairs on the coffee table, so when I have a moment, I'm going to peruse and enjoy Stuart Ashens' hilarious little coffee table book. It's not super big either, so it won't take up a ton of space. Sweet. Here's our next package, and it's another big one. This one comes from Chad in Indiana. Hi to all my Indiana viewers here in the US. Right off the bat, we got a note. Hi Adrian, thanks again for your channel. You helped me keep sane during 2020, one Commodore 64 and Apple II at a time. So I thought I'd try to help you out to bring some more good mojo back to this world. These are the items I reached out to you about. It's basically the guts of my family's first PC, a 386 system that was later upgraded to a 486 DX266, along with a Creative Multimedia Labs upgrade kit. It was a beast with 16 megabytes. These 386 parts were put away in the box of the Creative Labs multimedia kit and put into a closet, rarely disturbed since 1993, or was 1992. Yeah, it could have been either. Although the remnants of the 486 system are lost to time, I thought what I still have has some use still, at least on YouTube or in the hands of someone who can put them to good use, or a retro collector. They're not doing anything good in a closet. Here you'll find a 386 motherboard. Please note the factory bodges, I/O card, disk controller, Western Digital VGA card, a DFI Megalith Plus memory card. Okay, that's awesome. As a bonus, 83 megahertz Pentium overdrive chip in box from when that 486 machine was itself upgraded. Eventually, it got a PNY 133 megahertz upgrade chip, some loose RAM, 486 motherboard manuals, a box of the Creative Labs multimedia upgrade kit, which was the tomb for all of this, and a hard drive from the 386, which had a catastrophic failure when an IC exploded. It might be neat to take it apart. It went out with a bang sometime in 1999, having lived through a 486 upgrade and various overdrive chips. This was all stored in a climate controlled environment, so hopefully it reaches you mostly working and mostly in one piece. Sorry for the anti-static bubble wrap. Thanks, Chad. That is awesome. Thank you very much, Chad, for that note. Let's peruse what we see in here. Probably to spare everyone me unwrapping a whole bunch of bubble wrap, I'm just going to unwrap everything and then we will take a look at everything all together. Let's see. We got several things here to look at. Let's just start what's on the top. The Intel Overdrive. Well, that's sweet. These are pretty awesome now. So the 83 megahertz version, I think there were two versions of this, with the 83 megahertz version being the faster of the two. So you pop this in and it's a true Pentium when you put this into your 486. Let's just see what exactly is in the box here. So I know it came with a little tool for removing your 486, along with a floppy disk, some manuals, and indeed there are the manuals. And there's an attention. Packard Bell Systems, okay. And then here is, oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing itself. We have Stay in the Loop. We have the Intel disk. Let's take a look at the actual overdrive, see if it's the real deal. Now, what's interesting is I've had some of these on the channel before, and the fan didn't look the same. It didn't have that exact same sticker, but there's definitely a little dust on there. And then what you see going on right here are the voltage regulation circuits, because the Pentium requires, it is really a Pentium here with the I/O for a 486, and it requires 3.3 volts and some I/O stuff like that. So this is the voltage regulation for that, plus the built-in cooling. Let's hope this foam, oh no, the foam has degraded. That sucks. Hopefully this isn't too catastrophic. Okay, I think we are okay. Yeah, so what happens, there's a little bend of the pins there. What happens is this foam starts to degrade and it actually corrodes the pins. And look how when I squish it, it dented and it's not coming back. Anyhow, this looks okay. I definitely see some of that black stuff that's stuck on the pins that can cause issues. But all we need is a little IPA, hopefully, to clean that up. Hopefully. Yeah, I hope so. As far as straightening pins go, my technique, and I'm going to use the camera here to do it, is I use this little tool here, and we just sort of bend the pins back very carefully like that. And then what you want to do is you want to look at it all the different directions, because you see this way, we still have some pins bent. Now again, I'm doing this through the camera, so it's not ideal. It's better when you use your eyes. But without my goggles on, I won't be able to see very clearly. But yeah, see, that's a lot better. And then when you do is you can look at it at an angle like this as well and look for any pins that are bent. Here, this one here is bent as well, just ever so slightly. You just want to make sure everything is the same from every angle. All right, I think what I want to do now is use a little IPA to try to get that foam stuff off of there. So I'm going to use this little anti-static brush here. Get this IPA. Let's move this stuff out of the way here. Just spray that on there like so. And now we'll just gently try to clean these pins. And then looking at the heatsink, that is really, really gummed up. And it is possible to get this fan off of here. Do I remember how? Not totally. Okay, there we go. You just push those clips there, and then that does come off. And look how it has electrical contacts that touch the CPU. Isn't that freaking cool? That is super cool. Let's clean this dust out of here. What's quite cool about these particular fans as well is notice it has multiple pins there. It's 3 pins. That's because it actually has the ability, the processor does, to sense that this fan is not working anymore, and the CPU will underclock itself until you power cycle it and fix the fan problem. And there is the part number. If you are interested, you just take the fan off, and there it is, 83 megahertz. So this is indeed the real deal. All right, so the fan is back on. That just went back on very easily. And how do the pins look now that we cleaned them a little bit? I don't know. Not great. There's definitely still remnants. Okay, well, let's give it a try anyways. All right, we have a 46 motherboard here with a ZIF socket. So we are gonna try it on this. This socket is set up for 66 megahertz. Or 33 megahertz, which, if I recall, is the correct setting for this this type of CPU. Now, see, pin 1 goes right here. Look at that, my straightening worked. Oh no, it didn't. Not quite. Alrighty, CPU looks to be seated correctly. Let's get a power supply and power this board up and see what happens. All right, we are all hooked up. I think we're looking at the capture device. Yep, we are. Okay, power this on. Fan's a little noisy. I didn't even put the postcard in. Does not appear to be posting. Let's pop the postcard in there and see if we have anything. Oh yeah, it's at, well, it's stuck at postcode 5. Oh no, here we go. What's it doing? Why is it not working? Now it's postcode D. D is in Delta. I wonder if there are specific jumper configurations I do need to set for this particular chip. I thought I could just put it in when the motherboard was configured for a DX266. I think we're gonna swap back to the original CPU just to validate that the motherboard is working. Oh yeah. All right, so that's posting. So we know the system is working. But let's try again with the overdrive CPU. I wonder if there's just like dirty pins or something, and that's the problem. Let's just double check that I didn't mangle a pin. Where's my goggles? No, everything looks good, but there's a lot of that gunk on there. I think what I might need to do is actually soak the CPU in probably some 99% IPA, like just a thin layer, you know, so the pins are in there. The CPU is warm though, or maybe acetone will get that off. I don't know. Let's try this again. I mean, it's strange because we're getting post codes, we're getting what looks like normal activity, but then the system never goes beyond that, never actually posts. All right, well, it could be a problem with this motherboard, but I think it's those pins. I think I need to try to clean those up, and that will have to be for another video. Yep. Nothing is bent, nothing is folded over, all the pins are in really good shape, but we're not getting posting. All right, well, since this is a mail call episode, I'm not gonna do in-depth troubleshooting. I'm just gonna try to get this thing working, and if I do, I'll put a comment down in the description below for when this video is live. So check that out if you wanna know if this worked or not. And I'll put a comment to say that I wasn't able to get it working down there as well. And if you have any suggestions on what's going on, let me know. And I'll probably dig out another motherboard and give it a try with that as well. All right, moving on. Stuff from Chad here. This is Save for Chad AT486 box. What do we got in here? Ooh, we got a system board manual. Wonder if this has been scanned. Oh, we have 2 of them. What's the difference? The 4MHL3S and the 4M50HL3. Well, someone let me know in the comment section below if these are scanned, and if they're not, I'll cut the binding off and I'll scan these in and get these uploaded to, you know, RetroWeb, I guess. We have a Speedstar Pro manual. That's awesome. I'm assuming nothing is useful in here anyway. It's just about how to get drivers installed and stuff like that. Is this the hard drive that had the catastrophic failure? Might well be, potentially. Let's see. It's an old Seagate. Is this a Medalist? ST3144A. Quality control. IDE hard drive. Whoops. That's no good. What could have caused that exactly? That is the DSLogic chip that had a catastrophic failure. I'll just set this aside for now, and I'll grab a power supply and we'll open it up and look at it running. Hopefully it still spins. Next up, we have a serial parallel card, just one of those typical clone 8-bit ones, plus some expansion headers here. Next up, we have this floppy drive and hard drive controller. Notice how simple it is, and that's because a floppy drive controller probably takes most of these chips. IDE is just an extension of the 16-bit ISA bus, so there actually isn't much logic you need, just some select logic. This is cool because I have been using this card, and my video, I think last week on the main channel, for whatever reason, when I plug this into some motherboards, it results in the system not booting and like corruption on the ISA bus. I don't know why, but it does. So I think I'm going to ditch this card because it's just not reliable enough, you know, when I plug into different systems. And I'm going to move this compact flash adapter, it's just one of these regular ones you get from AliExpress or whatever, onto this card. All I'm going to need to do is remove this connector here and install a right angle because I like it to stick up like that. And then and I just wire up the 5 volts here to power the card up. And then for the hard drive, I do install an LED. See, the LED is soldered right on there. I just like that to be on there, so I'll do that with this card. But that will be great because I am not happy with this card, how unreliable it is, and I just don't understand why. Not to mention, I really don't care about the serial and parallel this thing has. And floppy controller is, I could take it or leave it, but there are jumpers to disable that. Is there a jumper on here to disable the floppy card? A floppy controller port? I don't know. Hopefully it's like this or one of these or something like that. But yeah, that's very helpful. Very, very helpful. So I can retire this old junky WinBond. Unreliable piece of junk. All right, the next little bag had a floppy cable, just for two, a 3.5 inch and a 5 1/4 inch disc. And then it looks like we have the headers right here for the I/O card. And just like I thought, we have another serial port. I thought it was parallel, but another serial port. And we have the game port that goes with this. Cool. All right, the next bag here had some RAM. Can we see what kind of RAM this is? How big is the RAM? Because we'd like the big stuff, not the small stuff. These might be 4 meg modules. All right. I love 4 meg modules because they're just not common. So yeah, 16 megabytes of memory here. You can usually tell because if we flip this the correct way, this way here, it says 4,000. And a lot of these with 8 chips, they are 1,000, and it's basically 4 megabytes by 1 bit because these are 8-bit sims, and the ones that are 1,000 are 1 megabyte by 1 bit. And these have the parity memory on them, and they are 70 nanoseconds. So very nice. These, you know, there are replicas of these now. You can make your own PCBs and solder the chips on there, but it's always nice to have some original ones, and these are in most excellent condition. Awesome. Next up, we have the VGA card that probably was in the original 386, and this is these are on the slower end of things, and you do have some jumpers to configure things, which usually you can figure out. You know, you look online, you can find that. Some of these had a 9-pin connector for connecting digital monitors as well, because this card could run in EGA or CGA or even MDA mode. But I have a few of those cards, and they're okay. They're just really, really slow. They're just not particularly great ISA VGA cards. So if you're looking to build yourself a retro PC, I do not recommend buying one of these cards unless you want something that's like period correct. It's just the performance of it is really not good. You want to go with one of the later ones that has a lot less chips on it and a lot more integration. Those are much, much faster, even with the same ISA bus, than these older cards. And then next up we have this, and this is freaking awesome. Wow, so yeah, EMS, extended memory card here, or EMS, and I don't know the difference between XMS, EMS, whatever, all those different things. What's awesome about this is, so the ISA bus can support up to 16 megabytes of RAM. So that's like on a 286. And that's because the ISA bus was designed for the 286. Well, it can actually support more memory if you're using EMS and things like that. But if you're talking about just extended memory, which is the native memory of the 286 and onward, then 16 megabytes is possible. And we have 8 SIM slots on here, and I doubt this supports the 4 meg modules that we had that are over here on the bench. But you can put 8 megs of RAM into your 5170 or any of your 286s, and that is really handy. So these types of cards are great because a lot more common, and I showed this on the video with those leading edge 286s recently, there are tons of individual DIP ICs for the RAM expansion, and you can have like a giant card that can only hold like 2 megabytes of RAM or 3 megabytes of RAM. So having something that's like relatively small like this and can take standard memory modules to go up to 8 megabytes is awesome. And we have the manual, oh, and disk as well. So I'll need to archive that just in case that's not available. And the Megalith Plus from DFI, Diamond Flower, I think is what that stands for. Let's see what's in here. Oh, is there a date? What was the date there? 1991. All right, let's see how much RAM this thing can accomplish or hold. So yeah, 286, 386 systems. I wouldn't recommend using a 386 though. It's ISA bus is really slow compared to the native speed of a 386, like 16 megahertz or 25 megahertz. You're much better off going with a dedicated RAM expansion card that's made for your motherboard on a 386, or if it has SIM slots or whatever, use those. Although, you know, if you need extra memory, it's fine. It says it's fast enough to work with virtually all systems. Almost all 16, 20, 25 megahertz 386s and 286s have bus speeds of only 6 to 10 megahertz. The Megalith can support a bus speed up to 12 megahertz. All right, that is cool. You know what's weird? Why doesn't it say how much RAM it can hold? Oh, 8 megabytes right there. Okay. And you can have 16 megs if you have 2 boards, or 32 if you have 4, but over 16 megabytes will require you to use EMS, which is like compatible with the XT. And it comes with a couple utilities, virtual disk stuff, EMS driver, the megalith.sys, and also print spooler. And then this has all the info you need for setting up those switches, because you need to do that. This is all a manual process. Wow, very cool. So I'm gonna have to do some searching, or if I don't do that by the time this video comes out, if you know that this has been archived somewhere, let me know, or not archived, let me know, and the floppy disk, so I can get that stuff archived and uploaded to archive.org. But I love this card. This is great. This is absolutely great. I have some kind of a RAM card in my 5170 behind me there. I don't know what it is, but I might end up switching to this one. Having 8 megs of RAM in the 5170 isn't great because it's kind of slow and the RAM count takes a long time, but it's kind of like street cred to have that much memory, and I kind of love that. Okay, we're nearly to the end here. I think that's everything that was in the box, and now we just have this Sound Blaster 16 Discovery 16 box here. I don't even know if anything is actually in here except for maybe the packing foam. Let's just give a quick look here. Ah, there is something in here, all right. All right, this will be the motherboard, the 386 motherboard that got upgraded to a 486, and I guess my question is does this have battery damage? Most 386 motherboards had NiCad batteries on them. This is a little baby AT board, so it means it's half size, and there it is. Ah, all right. Okay, so this is actually a 386 SX board, not even a normal full-on 386. And take a look at this. This is the RAM expansion slot that I was talking about. So whatever amount of memory that you can have on the board here, which when we look at this RAM, I don't directly recognize how much this is. So 386SX is like a 286 and it uses 16-bit memory. And a quick Google reveals that these chips here are 256K times 4 bits. So 2 of these together is 256K. And when you have 4 like this, then we have 512K, and these are parity memory chips here. So that's 1 megabyte and 2 megabytes of memory built into this motherboard. There's the processor there. You can see we have a 20 megahertz SX processor, and then that's for the Mathco processor right there. This is definitely on the older end of 36SX boards. Do we have date codes on here? Yeah, 1990, 36th week. So from 1990, still would have been a nice performance increase from a 286. Although I think by 1990, this would have been on the lower end of motherboards because there certainly would have been faster options, although much more costly than this. But this RAM expansion connector here would take a special RAM card that would plug in probably to the 8-bit slot and this would give you the 16-bit direct processor access for additional memory to really, you know, push your board to the limit. And as the manual for this RAM card mentioned, the ISA bus was a limiting factor. So this thing had what looked like another 2 megabytes because there were 2 SIMs in there. I didn't look at what they were, but 2 megs more of memory, so 4 megs total. But this memory would have been much faster running at the full 20 megahertz versus this, which would be, you know, running at 8 megahertz or whatever the bus runs on this motherboard. I like how there's a little LED right there. And as far as the battery goes, there's a battery connector right here, and there's nothing for onboard battery. So this thing obviously had an external battery like the old 5170, which means no leakage destroying the board, which is freaking awesome. Now, Chad mentioned that there were some factory bodges on here, and indeed that's the case. There's one there from that chip over to here. We have some additional resistor packs that have been added on, probably like a pull-up resistor or something like that. A little cap there, or a little cap here as well on the ISA bus. And we have a little resistor right here that was added on. Hey, you know what? You got to do what you got to do to make things work, right? Why don't we give this thing a quick test? I put the VGA card in here. I have my post card in. Power supply is connected. We're not going to test the IO card or the IDE card there. Let's just plug in the hard drive, the video cable here to the capture device. And here we go. Let's turn this on. System's posting. Oh, look, there it is. Phoenix BIOS. Keyboard failure, of course. 8 megahertz bus. There we go. 2 megs of RAM, just like I thought. Floppy drive fails. Well, of course, there's no battery in this thing, but it freaking works. Sweet. In fact, let's put the RAM card in because we know that this RAM card went with this motherboard, so I'm assuming that the configuration of the RAM card is correct for this motherboard. So let's see if we see 4 megs of RAM now. Let's see, this is counted up. There it goes. Yeah, look at that. And notice how slow it's going. And should stop it. Yeah, there we go, 4 megs. So the reason why it's 640 plus 1 meg is that top part of the memory is shadow memory. So it's overlaid on top of that top 384K of RAM. With old 286s, you actually got that little piece of memory, that 384K as extended memory, so it would be above the 1 meg barrier. But on the 386, because it supports remapping of memory, you know, virtual memory, stuff like that in the processor, they overlaid the 384K of RAM on top of that 384K upper memory space, which is usually used for ROMs and stuff like that. And that allows you to shadow your ROM BIOS into the RAM, and the RAM is much faster than the ROM, and the same for the cards. Like the ROM on the VGA card can be shadowed into the main system memory once the system boots, and that has a huge performance boost on PCs. So that's why you lose that 384K. But with this card in there, we're getting an extra 2 megabytes of memory. It's just at a much slower 8 megahertz. Not ideal. But hey, yeah, thing was stored away in a box all those years ago, and look at that, Chad. Still works perfectly. All right, so lastly with the stuff from Chad is we have the hard drive with a blown up chip. Does it still spin? Hopefully it does, because that's what we really want to see. This hard drive obviously will have no chance of ever working again. Let's turn on the power supply. No spinning. Well, that's annoying. Yeah, I guess that chip was responsible for more than just the I/O interface or whatever. Catastrophic failure on there. Well, let's open it up and take a look inside. Let's grab the iFixit toolkit here so we can bust into this thing. Let's see what's in here. Oh, my stomach is growling. I think it is time for lunch. Yeah, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I need to go grab some food. All I've had for breakfast today so far is some coffee and a protein shake, which is sort of my typical breakfast. I need a little bit more at this point. I think there's going to be a screw under here or under here, maybe. There we go. Look at the beauty of the hard drive inside. It's just, it frankly is amazing, really, how nice these things look. Just, I love it. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. This thing definitely probably would have worked if it weren't for that blown up chip. Well, I mean, we don't really know what else happened in here. It's nice if you ever take these apart, if you have dead hard drives, you get these neodymium magnets out of here. They can be useful. They're pretty strong, although they're usually like backed with a piece of metal, so that kind of makes them a little bit harder to use. But the magnet's down there on the underside of the voice coil there. So that's a voice coil. What happens is the permanent magnet there, this magnet on the bottom where I have my finger, the hard drive controller energizes and changes the magnetic field inside this coil, and that is able to position the head at very high speed and very, very precisely. This is a big step up from what you had on the older hard drives with stepper motors. All right, so I had to take these little side things off to get the controller off. I think, what's holding this on right now? Oh yeah, the ribbon cable there. So that was the connection for the head assembly. Sticks through there, connects to that. Is there anything catastrophic on here? No. We have a little bit of memory right here. Some kind of, this is RAM, DRAM, and maybe SRAM going on there. Nothing looks catastrophically blown up on that side. Just that. Not good. Not good at all. Look at that. That's the die in there. Actual chip. So one of my viewers mentioned while I took another hard drive apart, they had a really good idea for what to do with these discs when you take them out. What's cool is they're metal, and you can hang them up and create wind chimes out of them. And if you take apart different hard drives, there's a little spacer in here. There's a little spacer ring. If you take apart different size hard drives, you'll have different size rings. There we go. There's the other disc. So it was 2 discs, and looks like we had 4 heads on this particular drive. So now the heads can come out, and that means the magnet is free. This is what I wanted out of here. I mean, I have tons of these magnets. I didn't really need this. All right, there we go. There's the magnet. Came right out. There's little spacers on there. And yeah, this is going to be a pretty strong magnet. It, it holds on quite strongly. Look, whoa, don't get your fingers in between it. And whoa, oh, I can barely get that off there. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. You can really pinch your fingers. In fact, this piece of metal that was on here, this one here, you can really cause issues. Let's see, we'll put this piece of plastic here in between. And even with the plastic there, whoa, yeah, you gotta be careful about that kind of stuff. And these are probably extremely stuck. The only way to get them apart is to slide them apart like that. Yeah, so these neodymium magnets, pretty cool. I guess rare earth, is that what this is? I don't know. It's a good source of these, and you want to stick something on your fridge and have it never come off? Yeah, use one of these. But anyways, as for the discs, yeah, maybe I should start thinking about wind chimes or something. Yeah, you know, you take apart other dead hard drives, and you can have various sizes and various thickness and various colors, and you get some nice sound out of it. Look, listen. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Data enclosed. And that is really it. There's the box, Sound Blaster Discovery 16. It's a pretty cool box there. Kidsoft. Came with those terrible LabTech speakers, a Sound Blaster 16, the Creative CD-ROM drive, but you know what? In your 486, this would have been an amazing multimedia upgrade. The Discovery CD16. And on the back, yep, awesome. What do you think it says about the speakers? Matched pair of high-performance stereo speakers. High performance. Are you freaking kidding me? I got a set back there. They're freaking garbage. I mean, I know a lot of people have fond memories of them because this is what came with your Sound Blasters, but they were the bare minimum, really were. Anyways, okay, Chad, thank you very much for saying this stuff. I'm going to have to do some more investigation on the overdrive CPU. Probably you'll see this IDE card again once I modify it and get my compact flash onto here so I can stop using this WinBond piece of crap here. Thank you very much, Sean, for sending in this Stuart Ashen's book. That'll be a fun little read. And thank you very much, Avery, for sending in those 2 small TVs and that TV boombox. Pretty freaking awesome. So that's going to be it for this mail call episode. Thanks very much for everyone who sent stuff in. There is still a huge pile of stuff back there, but at least I got rid of 2 of the huge boxes here. There are still a couple more really big ones, and then at least the pile is physically not huge, but there are a lot of items that are still unopened there. So if you sent stuff in and you're wondering where it is, well, that's what's going on. I want to say hello and welcome to a bunch of new patrons that came on since my recent video on the main channel where I announced that I was doing this full time. My patrons literally make it possible for me to do this full time, and it is amazing. I retired from my old career, and now, yeah, all I do is YouTube videos. As scary as that is, that's what I do now. And it's thanks to my patrons that make it all possible. If you want to become a patron, you can do so. There's a link in the description below. Their names are going up beside the screen. They get early access to videos and other cool behind the scenes stuff like live streams and things like that. And I guess that's going to be that. So thanks very much for watching. Stay healthy, stay safe. I'll see you next time. Bye.